Mike?
On the mic with Mike.
On the mic with Mike?
On the mic with Mike.
I'm on the mic with Mike? He's like a guru.
No, he's a businessman with a great radio show.
And he supports the nonprofits.
Watch his show and grow.
Hi, this is Sylvia Farbstein, and I am on the air with Mike King. He is widening the lens of humanity, and I'm so happy to be a part of his journey.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Mic with Mike, the premier business radio program around. In fact, we're the only daily business radio program in Central Virginia. We're here talking to the game changers, folks who are out there. You can follow me on all social platforms, hashtag On the Mic with Mike RVA, hashtag Mike King Biz. We'd like to thank our show sponsors, Tom Trudy, the credit card guy, Andy Taylor, Junk Luggers, as well as Mama Michelle's Cafe. We have a new one coming on soon. We're just going to drop that soon. That's called a media tease. That's what we do here, to keep you interested on the edge of your seats as you're riding along in your car, listening wherever you are out there. The next group that I always talk to, we're riding with these guys for a long time. So I have John Fleming, who is the regional administrator for the Small Business Administration. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
All righty. So at one point, I would say pre-2019, SBA was a well-known secret to, you guys were known. You guys were mildly popular to people who knew who SBA was and who needed its SBA services. And then a pandemic hit. And you guys got to be the most popular group in the world, seemed like. You guys weathered that. You went from being able to process a certain number to an outrageous amount of numbers, a little bit of growing pains, but you guys came through it smoothly to what it seems like smoothly. And now we seem to be on the other side. Let's hear about SBA and where we are now as we're going into 2022, how we weathered 2021. Well, not really us, but how you guys weathered 2021 and the administration's idea where you guys are going forward.
Thank you, Mike. Yes, it was quite a journey the last 2 years. It spanned, all of the different surges of COVID. It spanned 2 different administrations. The good news about small business and our programs is usually one administration will start it and the other one will improve it, and vice versa. It really works out well. I like to think that small business is apolitical. We just want to see them all succeed, and that's our mission here at the agency. The numbers are incredible. We were certainly, by design, we were a niche lender. We helped out, back in the day. Back in the day now is what, only 2 years ago.
Exactly. Way back in the day, 2019. I'm like, wow.
I'm showing my age using that term, but we were maybe like 4 or 5% of overall lending. We were doing government contracting, which is not such a big world when it comes to small business. And we had people that we were helping through our counseling and training programs. And then, as you said, when it hit us all in March of 2020, Congress acted as quickly as they could to get the programs out. So we normally would have, in the neighborhood of maybe 300,000 transactions, total transactions, loans, contracts. We went from that to, the numbers for 2020 and 2021 were like in the neighborhood of 14 million. So there's your numbers. At one time we had a backlog. If we didn't change anything, we would have had a backlog. It would have taken us decades to get through it. So we had to change. We made lots of changes. We simplified the process for our loans. We hired as many people as we could on a temporary basis. Congress gave us money to do that. So first thing we did was put in what's called the EIDL loan, economic injury disaster. That's always around. It's always been around. Never on a national basis, with the exception of right after 9/11. We used that program. That's a direct loan program from the federal government, normally used for floods, tornadoes, fires, that kind of thing. People can rebuild their houses and their businesses. And that's still ongoing, by the way. We're helping people with all the disasters that you see on TV. But under COVID, we had to help as many people as we can. So right away, they put in EIDL. And then Congress came out with a series of other programs. You know, we know the acronyms by now. As you said, Mike, we're no longer a secret. You know, we
No,
got
you're not.
PPP.
You're
We
not
had
a secret
RRF.
anymore. So
you
wait
know.
a second. The RRF, that was the restaurant relief fund. Is that what?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the as well as you guys said, what was it? The shuttered venue.
Shuttered venue was for theaters that were forced to shut down, and talent and booking agents and not just theaters, but anyone in the entertainment industry pretty much was covered under that program. That went well. It took us it took us about 90 days to get that program up and running, and in government terms, that's lightning speed.
Yes, it is.
And but we got it out. It was successful. Restaurant revitalization that went out. Now I think there could have been people are looking for more money for all our programs. I'm not sure. I'm not a lobbyist. We'll see what happens with Congress. But they're certainly been well received. And they were changing on the fly. They were literally like overnight, they would change some of the rules. And the good news is every time they changed the rules, meaning Congress changed the rules, it was for the better. It was made the program easier to use. Maybe it changed the way the process worked. And we got them out. We're still dealing with cleaning up some of the old idle loan applications. The deadline to apply was December 31st. But that doesn't mean the deadline to get approved. We're working on everything that came in before December 31st. We're working on those loans, getting them out. They're a little more complicated. It takes a little bit more time to get them out. So that's what we're working on now. And we're also cleaning up some of the last remaining forgiveness applications from PPP.
So we have John Fleming here. He is with the Small Business Administration, our friends, the SBA. I got to give a shout out to the good folks here in Richmond. So that's Carl Knobloch, Sherelle, as well as Martin Short. Always they're on the front lines of helping businesses out there. When people around here didn't know what was happening, the team here from SBA was on the front lines giving out information. They were here with us every week, and they were always out and available. We'd like to thank them. So, sir, you talk to a lot of business owners who are out there. You guys are the Small Business Administration. What are the streets saying from, okay, we're here in Richmond, across the country. What are you guys hearing, how people are doing right now?
Well, I mean, I think there's some businesses are struggling. We just didn't know going into this. Some businesses had an amazing time during the COVID. You know, for instance, a friend of mine owns a chain of pizza restaurants, delivery restaurants in Delaware. He owns about 12 of them. He was ready to sell and lose money on his restaurants. When COVID hit, it is amazing. He tripled his sales almost overnight. And so some of them are doing well, and some of them are still struggling. You know, restaurants I know are still struggling. Retail side, you know, we seems like, thank God we just got over all this the latest wave of COVID, and you know, I think people are feeling better about it, and it's I think we're going to be fine in the end. Maybe maybe we can help some more businesses. I'm sure moving forward, we have lots of plans at the SBA to expand our base. You know, now that we're well known, we want to be able to reach out to more lenders, more customers, also get businesses more government contracting. That's been a big focus of the administration. And we want to work on small business, smaller loans. You know, sometimes it's tough when you're a small business to get a loan that's, let's say, you know, less than 150,000. You go to your banker, and that's a big number for a lot of people. But for a lender, they want to do bigger loans. They have goals to meet, so it's tough for them to do bigger loans. Your typical big bank doesn't do a lot of small loans. But under SBA, we're trying to change that. We're trying to do some direct lending. It depends on if Congress gives us that money, but we're certainly focusing on our lenders, or what we call community lenders, to help them improve our programs and use them more often for small business. So that's what we're looking for in 2022.
Mike King, John Fleming is here. How can people find the information with SBA?
SBA, well, our website is easy, sba.gov. You can navigate to to the local district office. And Mike, I'm glad you mentioned the local office. That, you know, Carl and Sheree have done an amazing job. They really have great team there. They have some young blood in there and people that are doing initiatives. I was fortunate enough to come down about 2 years ago and visit with Carl and his team, and I was real impressed by the turnaround because I've been with the SBA now for 29 years in the Richmond
Wow.
office. Yeah, it'll be 30 in July, but Richmond office was good, but I wouldn't say it was one of the top 5 in our country. But really, I was really impressed now by how that team has done a great turnaround under Carl's tenure, and it's been great.
That is true. So you were there before you guys were sexy and popular, which was a very long time. Do you think that people are going to go back to or think about where SBA was before, or do you really think that the word is out now and people kind of understand some of the things you do? Because like you said, a lot of times people out there, they really don't know what the SBA does. And you guys have a real treasure trove of options for business owners to use.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll ever go back to the way we were. I think we helped a lot more people than we didn't. There's some people that either didn't know about the program or applied too late or had some difficulty maybe in the past. But for the most part, we've become a household word, and it gives us an opportunity. So I still get calls about the old program or emails about our old programs, which maybe have sunsetted. But I can also direct those folks in other ways. Our existing program, our existing partners. We have people that can help with writing a business plan for free. We have people that can help with marketing projections. And a lot of people don't know that. They think of us as just loans. And it's given us all this exposure, has really given us the opportunity to introduce that segment to our new, to some of our programs that have been existing, but maybe weren't as well known. And a lot of people have signed up for our newsletters and our email blasts that go out. And I don't think we'll ever go back to a secret agency anymore. And it's really good to see.
One of the things, we have John Fleming, who's here with us. So you've been around SBA for a long time, and you see the mistakes that pop up. Not every time, but boy, they pop up a lot when people show up at SBA's doorstep. Let's talk about some of the mistakes that people do that causes them to either slow the process down or sidetrack it all together.
Well, I mean, let's talk about our main subject, which is the loan product. Any of our loan products that we do. So some of the mistakes that they have is some people, they won't take the time to write a business plan or even a concept paper, something that we can get a hold of. People a lot of times, especially when they're starting out, they'll fall in love with the idea of opening a business, but they won't run through the numbers. They won't or even run into that business. People think, I'm a collector of certain items and I could sell those. I could run that business, whatever it may be. But it's a total different ballgame. And I tell you, Mike, my 29 years here, and 2 years ago, my wife decided to open a coffee shop, which means I was part of the coffee shop.
Sure.
And I was even in all these years, I was amazed at how many people have their hand out when it comes to small business. You've got, workman's comp, insurance. You've got the tax people from state, local, county, federal. You've got work. It's just incredible the amount of people that really hit you for different taxes that you just don't even know. You don't even fees and months. I mean, we know we knew what we're doing. We both understand where we needed to go, and it still took us 4 months to get through the regulation process, the licensing and health department. So it really is, when you say small business, it's really, really tough out there. And then when they go to buy, they're competing with the large businesses out there that are buying as if they're wholesalers. We're selling product in coffee and other products at prices that other big chains like Wawa and others, they buy it. They're buying wholesale what we're selling for retail. And it's just really difficult to make. The margins are so tough. And that's why you see a lot of small businesses where it's just a family working there, mom and pop working there. They can't afford a lot of times to bring on employees and the extra insurance and other things that go along with that. So yeah, we've learned from a lot of that, but it's certainly opened up our eyes in terms of perspective for actually being a small business owner.
So you're working at SBA on the front lines, and you go into being a business owner, and you're kind of shocked with some of the things, because all of a sudden, it's like me. I had been a salesman for a very long time, and salespeople always kind of think that we're, you're out on, we're just making magic happen. But becoming a business owner, which is Mike King Biz Radio, all of a sudden, there's a whole bunch of things on the backside of it, or underneath the water, and you're like, whoa, I didn't realize all those things. Can you talk about what the business culture looks like from the 90s to the 2000s? For you, what's different now than say it was back in the early 2000s or the 1990s?
Well, I think, early on, we've the culture for us has been to change the way agency helps small businesses. Back in the 90s, we didn't worry about what we worry about now. We part of the Biden-Harris administration is equity. Reaching out to women-owned businesses, minority-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses. We're here in the middle of Black History Month, and back in the 90s when I started, we didn't even look at those statistics really. But now we've been able to create programs specifically targeting groups that were what we call underserved, includes veterans, women, and minorities. And that has changed quite a bit. In terms of lending, we were already making a big change when it comes to our lending programs, because we relied more and more on what's the guaranteed process. Instead of doing direct loans, we relied more and more on guaranteed money. And that means the banks are part of the process. The government, it's the bank's money, the government provides a guarantee, and the small business owner gets a loan that they would not qualify under conventional terms. And that's what exploded our numbers. That's where we were in the, last year, the $40 billion range. When I started out, we were about $5 billion a year, and we had 3 times as many people working at the SBA. We've shrunk, but we're doing more with less, and we're meeting our goals in lending and most of our goals under government contracting. It's the old adage, doing more with less.
That is the government adage after spending a lot of time in the Army. Yes, sir. That is the motto. So now,
that's right.
Let me ask you, do you think that business owners are more prepared these days now than they were in the past?
I think they are. Information is out there more than ever. One of the things I do want to caution, though, there's some fraudsters out there. You want to be able to make sure you're dealing directly with people from the SBA or your SBDC or Women's Center or even the Veterans Centers. Make sure that you're dealing with legit people. If someone asks you for a fee up front, that means they're not legit. That's a big, big red flag. All of our programs and services are free for the upfront initial application. So, you want to look at that. We do charge for some of our training, but for the most part, our counseling services are free. So you want to make sure you're aware of that. And folks can just, again, get a hold of us at sba.gov. That's the nationwide website, and it's very, very helpful. And that in turn has really raised the knowledge level of SBA of small businesses out there that want to access our programs.
So we'd like to thank you for coming on the program. When we talk to Carl and we talk to Martin and we talk to those guys, they're out there. I remember just talking week after week after week about the opportunities that were going to be there once things kind of settled down. And so SBA kind of like in this market was kind of the calming force here, because all of a sudden people didn't know which way to turn. And then when I heard that people were paying for PPP information and stuff like that, you didn't realize. So, I appreciate you guys coming on, talking about what's out there, safeguard for businesses. and also opportunities. Really quickly, we got about a minute or so to go. Touch on some of your, you guys always talk about the partners, your vendor partners like SBDC, as well as the others really quickly.
Sure, sure. We have a small business development center, what we call our resource partners, and they're a big part of what we do, provide counseling and training and workshops. We have women's business centers throughout the country. There's about 130 of those. And we have what we call VBOCs, veteran business ownership centers. And they help veteran business owners. And we have a couple in Virginia and one in Maryland. And it's targeting those businesses from that background. And they, what we do at SBA, most of us in the field are small business program experts. But if you want to speak to a good certified small business counselor, go to one of our resource partners and they can help you.
All right, John Fleming, I'd like to thank you for coming on the program, sir. It's always
Thank
a
you,
pleasure.
Mike.
One of the things you always know about here, the way it works is you have a home now. Whenever SBA wants to come on and talk about the great things they're doing, our listeners are always open for having you on. So one last time, it is SBA.gov. You guys make it clean, easy to find you. I mean, you guys are not a hidden secret anymore. The word on SBA is out. So we'd like to thank you for coming on the Mic with Mike, best business radio program around. You can hear us on ESPN Richmond 106.1. That is Monday to Friday, 5 to 7 a.m. The Choice 105.3, which is gospel radio, as well as international business growth radio. You can follow me on social platforms, hashtag Mike King Biz, hashtag On the Mic with Mike. We are out there trying to make a difference. So On the Mic with Mike, the best in the business. We'd like to thank you for coming on. You can reach me by phone as well, 804-774-8305. There's always a way to find us. We'll get you in touch with our good friends at SBA. So we'd like to thank John for coming on. He is with the Small Business Administration. Thanks for coming on, sir. Take care now.
Okay, see you.